we are live. Welcome to the weekly show of Classroom Without Walls, using technology to reimagine education. My name is I. I'm the host of this weekly Facebook Live show, and join me is the one and the only Julia McCoy. And I created this show because I believe our society has changed a lot. As an educator, I need to change how I teach and how I interact with the next generation. And social media and technology play a huge role in our changing society. On my show, I interview leading professionals and educators like Julia to share and discuss topics related to social media, technology, education, disruption, and change. If you are new to the show, thank you so much for joining us. If you are a returning attendee and you know how much I love you and how much your support means to me, and you are watching this on replay, future people, thank you so much for checking us out. Today, I'm so honored. Hey, J-Matt, and to have Julia join us as my guest of honor. You know, many of you probably already follow Julia. I'm her number one. I'm her big fan. So Julia is the CEO of Express Writers, and she has been running Express Writers for 7+ years very successfully. And Julia is also an incredible author, podcaster, speaker, and educator. And she is also the founder of a really popular Twitter chat called Content Writing Chat, which is on every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and definitely check it out. I love the chat. That's how we got connected a few years ago. Yeah. Right. So today, Julia is going to share with us how she has leveraged effective content writing strategies or content marketing strategies to grow her business and to bring her profit. And Julia, thank you so much for coming to my show and for joining us and to share your knowledge with us. And welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I love and respect what you're doing in the space. And just like you said, we connected through the Twitter chat, which was amazing. And then we just took it offline from there. And we've been friends in the space for years now.
Besties, yes, for quite some time. Yeah,
we still have to meet in person, which we will.
I know, that's the power of social media. Yes. And I want to give a quick shout out to people joining us live. J-Matt is here and Wang Sunk is here. Oh, my friend Charlie's, I think he's from South Korea. Oh, no. And Darren's here from UK and Sally's here. Oh, thank you so much. If you can type in the comments where you are joining us from, that will be greatly appreciated, because this makes me happy to see the global audience we have here. And also, I'm going to, Megan is here. Thank you so much, everyone. Suzanne is here. And yeah. I think Charlie, this is my friend from South Korea. Hello. And Sally and Finland. And Darren, thank you so much, everyone. You are in for a real treat today because Julia is amazing. And listen to her story, and you are going to love her and learn a lot from her.
Thanks.
So I totally mean it. And I'm going to post the Be Live link in the comments section. So anyone in the audience, if you want to join us live in the live video chat with me and Julia, you only need to click on the link and then you will be on air with us, okay? And I hope you are going to join us and co-create content with us and ask Julia some of your personal questions. So do you want to add anything to my introduction, Julia?
Oh gosh, that was epic. You do the best intros. You know, alongside the Twitter chat, one thing I'm resurfacing these days is my podcast, The Right Podcast. So that's something else I'm running that I'm really passionate about.
That's awesome. I love listening to your podcast. I think it was this, you did one episode with Mark Schaefer, and I think that was the episode I finally decided, okay, I'm going to buy his book because I already listened to Yes, I think that was the deciding like episode or content that made me make that decision. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, how cool. Yeah, he's awesome. Yes, I really enjoyed doing that interview. I scooted back from the camera because I'm looking at my computer's over here, and I hope you guys aren't getting like a zoomed in look at my face. And I'll scoot back if you need me to.
Oh, I think it looks good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, let us know in the comment section. I think you look good on my end, and if you guys can see him clearly, yeah.
Cool.
Wow, hello everyone. Just so happy to see you all, and just like from all over the globe. And thank you so much, everyone. Yes, we are just going to get started with my list of questions here. And as I mentioned, and you can join us anytime by clicking on the Be Live link. And if you don't mind giving this show a share so that more people can check out Julia's awesome content, that will be greatly appreciated. So let's get started, Julia. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Yes. As I introduced you earlier, you have such an amazing, incredible story. You know, I loved how you scaled your business through the content that you are producing and effective marketing content writing strategies. In 2016, you were overworked, you were struggling, you were not making enough money, and you were producing content like a lot on a daily basis. So as a content creator, I think many people in the live audience can also relate. I can definitely relate. You know, I'm producing lots of content, but I don't know how to scale my content. So fast forward to today, Julia, at the beginning of this year, you had a huge financial breakthrough. You know, you earned 120K per month. Congratulations. That is amazing. So if you don't mind, can you please share with us some of the mistakes that you made on your earlier journey, maybe like 2 years ago?
Yes.
So that we can learn from you.
Absolutely. Well, your questions, I got a sneak preview, you guys, and she asked the best questions.
Oh, because I have the most amazing guest.
Oh, thanks. Well, yeah, great question. So what mistakes did I make and how did I change to make better profits from my content in the past 2 years? So yes, everything I said about 2016, that was me. Back then, I was just pushing out content. That's what I was used to for years. And it absolutely was growing my business. But it wasn't giving me breakthroughs. It wasn't making our growth chart and our growth curve. It wasn't really pushing that forward to the next step. So, and also that year in 2016, as you might have heard on when Jason Schemmel was a guest, he shared this story. But that year we had some of the most dangerous things that have ever happened in business happen that year. Two of the managers I trusted the most, they scammed us. So I had to fire them, recover, and figure out our content strategy. So all of that was happening the same year. So after I got the team back together and we really recovered, then the question was, okay, what am I doing with our content? Why is it not really scaling? So when I asked that, that's when I got more strategic. And that was September of 2016. So getting more strategic, what did that look like? You know, I started with emailing and surveying our customer base. Like, what are your pain points? Why did you pick us? And the responses we got were phenomenal. People told us why we outperformed our competitors. They told us selling points I wasn't even aware of. So that survey did a lot to open my eyes about what people wanted from us. And then with the volume side, whenever I got more strategic and I knew what people wanted to hear from us about, then I focused on, instead of just creating a ton of content, how can I do the best piece of content? So that was my focus. And I went from like 4 to 5 pieces a week to 1. And it was a drastic move because at the time I was following, you know, like SEO guidelines, like try to get out the most content you can around keywords and stuff it. And, you know, all of those guidelines they gave years ago about content, I was still following for SEO, and that really wasn't best practices anymore. So I just did all of that. And I was like, how can I create the best content for my audience? And that's when everything changed. And our content brought us so much more ROI.
That's amazing. I just love hearing your story. So do you want to specify some like major mistakes that you made and in the earlier journey so that we can maybe learn from it and then avoid those mistakes?
Yes, absolutely. So you're asking the tough questions.
We are pulling behind the curtain.
Yeah. So, I think profitable content marketing, when you ask yourself, how do I get profits from the content I produce? That has to come down to the team, the company you run, the services you offer, and then it has to come down to the content you create. So with the team I was running that year, it kind of fell apart. My team literally fell apart. And I had 2 managers scam us and I had to rebuild, and it took me months to find the right people. And it really wasn't until last year when I found the most amazing people I've ever hired. So that year, finding the right people was, I trusted the wrong people. Mistake number 1. Do not trust the wrong people. And then
that's great.
The second mistake I'd have to say that year was putting out so much content and not stepping back and being super strategic. So those 2 things put together were the reason we weren't growing.
So are you saying that it's not about the number of, like, for example, maybe articles you are producing, but more about the approach, the strategies behind the content you are producing?
Yes, absolutely. Oh yeah. And because we have an amazing team, like Hannah, our content director, I don't know if she's watching this. She might be. Hi, Hannah, if you are. But she manages our team and she's very effective at management. So that helps us deliver a great product. Whenever people find our content and they're like, oh, your firm looks creative. It looks like you offer amazing writing services. We do. And the clients find that out. And so we're growing exponentially because our content is the best it's ever been. I'm getting very strategic. And, strategic really does come down to less is more. Like that is so true. Whenever you stop, like Chris Strub and I were talking about this, whenever you just stop doing content and you step back, that's when you can actually do better at content. And that's like really hard for us to wrap our minds around, especially as creators, because we think there's a deadline. I have to get something out next Wednesday. I have to, no, maybe you should skip next Wednesday. Maybe you should not. I'm not talking about your show. But if you have to like skip a date and step back and ask yourself, is this content really going far? And is it really speaking to my specific audience? That could be the best approach.
Yeah. Those are amazing. And this is a great way transition to my next question. But hold on for a second. I want to give some quick shout out to people who are joining us live. And guess what? Hannah is here.
Oh, yay. I can't see the comments.
Oh, you couldn't? Oh, we are
here.
We are having lots of comments, and Zella is here. Wow. Thank you so much. And for joining, and Cameron is here. Thank you. Hi to you. And Suzanne, yes, you are.
Love you too.
Getting lots of. Jim is here. Thank you so much. And everyone, if you want to join us for the live video chat, please click on the Be Live link. I pinned the link. Okay. And or if you don't feel like being in front of a camera, which I totally understand, you can type your comments in the question in the comment section below. Okay.
I'm going to look over here at my computer a couple times. I can see the comments. I can't see them on my phone.
That's strange. Yeah. So like you were talking about the importance of strategies, and I love that. So recently you launched like a masterclass, and of course I jumped in, I registered. Yeah, Julia, I have to learn. So in that course, you were talking about a 6-step framework to help people producing content that can generate profit and conversion. So I really love those 6 steps. So can you please share those steps with us? And everyone in the audience, listen up. Those are really amazing steps, and I recommend you take out a piece of paper or whatever devices you use and write down those 6 steps. So can you please share with us, Julia?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm going to reference, I took notes before we met, so I'm going to reference my points over here. But yeah, let's get into those. So the 6-step framework to a profitable optimized content strategy, these are things that, gosh, I've taken years to narrow down. So these are not just my ideas. These are not just, speculation. This is proven. And it's also used by many other people, not just me. So the first step in the framework is your fundamentals. And this comes down to where are you and what does that look like online? So what industry are you in? And that broaden that and then speak to what do those people want to hear about? And that can get really tricky because if you're in an industry like, let's say a medical industry, if you're speaking from your place of expertise, you may not be speaking about what people want to hear. So you still have to research and know what people want to hear about. And hand in hand, knowing your content differentiation factor, which is a term I came up with.
Yeah, can you explain that? Yeah.
Yes. So what differentiates you? What differentiates your content from the rest of all of the content out there? And that's such an important question to ask because, over 2 million blog posts are going out every single day. So we really have to stand back and ask ourselves, what makes us different than the rest of the volume? So that's the first step. So the second step is knowing how to bridge your audience and your sales together. So this is where you not only speak to your audience, but you also bring them through the stages of the sales awareness cycle. So awareness, consideration, decision. How do you speak to them when they are considering your services? And then how do you bring them all the way to a close? So knowing how to do that is critical. And the third step in this framework is knowing your SEO. So this is like, I love SEO. This is one of my favorite points because SEO really has gotten us so far online. So here, this is all about knowing your software, knowing what techniques you should use whenever you research your keywords. So, don't look at the numbers when it comes to search volume. Look at the competition. How competitive is that keyword? And if it's a low competition keyword, then you might be able to rank inside a few months. And if you get in the first 5 of Google for a search phrase, gosh, that's worth so much money. So on top of SEO is building online authority through your content cores. So that looks like knowing where you publish and then knowing when you're publishing. So if that's like I publishes on Medium and she's a top writer now in social media, that's your content core. And for me, that's definitely our domain, our blog, publishing there. My throat is not cooperating for some reason.
So as you're drinking some water, maybe I can interrupt you for a second. So can you explain high competition keywords versus low competition keywords one more time, just in case some people in the audience, they are not familiar with that?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So low competition keywords versus high competition. So that is impossible to know unless you use a tool. And I think that was your next question is what tools do I use? So I definitely recommend SEMrush and the Mangoes. I think it's pronounced Mangles suite. So they have a tool called Keyword Finder. And I love this tool. It's epic.
Does anyone in the audience know any of those? It's the Mango one, and I just want to share the link. How to spell it, Julia?
So just like the word Mango, and then add ols.com.
Okay.
Yeah, so high competition versus low. If you use a tool like Keyword Finder, it will instantly tell you your score. So instead of guessing or trying to research this on your own, software is critical. So Keyword Finder, for example, will give you a scale of 1 to 100, and it'll tell you how difficult this keyword is. So if you have a keyword like, let's say, black dress, the competition could be 100. But if you lengthen that to little black dress size medium for my prom, then you might have a competition of 20, where only 20 other websites are competing, or that number is 20 out of 100. So that's when you know, okay, this is a great keyword and I can create content on it. And that content will.
Great. That's a great example. So you're saying that we have to rely on a tool to kind of figure it out, right?
Yes, you can go to Google and, use their drop down to look at suggestions and to like brainstorm, get your wheels going. But whenever it comes down to picking a keyword and then like putting your money, your time on creating content, know what keyword you're using and make sure you know the competition. And it's going to go so far.
That's great. Thank you. So you shared Mangoes, another one is Keyword Finder, right?
Yes, that's actually their tool. So Mangles has a suite of tools. Yeah. And Keyword Finder is one of their, I want to say 5 tools. So they have a complete suite. They're actually a newer tool. I think they came out, I want to say like 3 years ago, and they were developed. Someone posted on Reddit. They were like, oh, there's not a good keyword tool out there. And someone's like, let me build one. So this all started on Reddit. And then this tool happened. And it's amazing. These people, it was a group of Russians that built it. And it's amazing. I can't.
That's amazing. Yeah. Megan gave you a big shout out here, and she's loving everything you shared. And thank you. Yes.
Thank you. That means a lot. I hope
and Zella said that she heard about Mangoes from you and have been using it. And where are you? Okay, you are back. Too much fire, too excited. And she said she has been enjoying Mangoes. Is this free, Julia, or expensive? Mangoes.
It's actually fairly cheap. I think it's under $40 a month. So it's
okay,
like $39.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And SEMrush is $100 a month, which is kind of pricey. So that's much better.
Yes. Awesome. Let's keep going. And I'm sorry to interrupt you. Oh, this amazing person just did a perfect summary. I don't know if you can see the comments. He's summarizing the 6 steps, and right now we are at step 4. And you were talking about, knowing where and when you publish. Actually, one of my question is, like we hear so much, like experts and gurus talking about like we need to be everywhere and we need to be on every single platform to publish content. And I remember you also discussed this in your free masterclass, being all over the place versus being focused. So can you maybe explain to us, as we are talking about, where to publish and when to publish, like maybe kind of elaborate on this a little bit more?
Yeah. Great question. Well, I think
you guys are taking like great notes, everyone in the audience. Thank you.
Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Yeah, so great question about focus. Well, the reason I put that as like one of the first points in my masterclass is that so many experts are in, they're in our Facebook ads, they're on Twitter, they're in your emails, sending you blogs, and they're all saying, try this. And they give you all these strategies, but sometimes it's really critical. I was trying to say crucial and critical at once. It's very crucial that we ignore everyone else, we put our heads down, and we focus. And that is so hard to do with FOMO, with ads in our face, with more and more content, 2 million blogs going out every day. So I think focus is harder than ever, and it really is challenging to just sit down and create. But, the things I did last year, a course, a 3rd book, you can see these books, the book behind me. I have a whole row of, I don't know if you can see it because I'm zoomed in, but the course and the book I published, if I didn't focus, I don't want my phone to fall. If I didn't focus, I'd still be here creating it. And that course and that book took me probably 1,000 hours if you quantify it all. So I blogged about this as well, and I describe it like putting horse blinds on. Like you have horse blinds on and you're focused on one thing. And I think that's so critical to being successful with our content.
Yeah, definitely. Like I love you mentioned how you become so focused. And I remember you also mentioned in one of your articles, blog articles, that how Mark Schaefer, you used him as an example, just like stay so focused with his blogging. He shared that he has been producing 2,000 plus blogs. And I love that, being so focused without like chasing after all those amazing shiny objects, hey, do this, do that. So
have you heard of the new acronym that's out? Instead of FOMO, I love this. The new acronym is Jomo. And it means joy of missing out.
Oh my God. Okay. That's the tweetable for today. I love it.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
Wow. So came up with this.
Do you want me to finish the 6-step framework? I think we're at the
4, yes. And then go to number 5. Yeah.
Okay. So after building online authority through content cores, that was our 4th. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that was our 4th. So the 5th one is all about creating content consistently. And, the other one, building online authority through your cores, really all of the ones before that core are critical. And I think like many times, this was me at the beginning, we jump to creating content consistently, right? We jump there and we skip all these important points of knowing where we stand, knowing our keywords, knowing our audience. And all of those things are so critical to actually succeeding. So we cannot just jump to creation. We have to go through those stages. But then once we know where we're writing and what we're saying online, then it is time to create content. And the last core is to budget, promote, and do content maintenance. So those are also very critical to succeeding online.
Can you explain the last one? What do you mean by content maintenance? Like how do you maintain your content?
Yes, great question. So content maintenance really helps you get a lot more value from your content. So whenever you put out a piece of content, a lot of creators forget about it. It sits out there for years and years and we never update it. So going back and updating older content, gosh, I did a case study on this once and something I updated actually brought us a new sale within like 3 days. 3 days after I updated it, someone found it and they were convinced and then they bought. So old content, if it's like poorly written, if it has any duplicate content, if the brand logo isn't accurate to what your brand is today, all of those things can stop that content from producing ROI. So updating those things can take minutes, like not much time at all. And it can result in so much. So that's why it's critical to do content maintenance and, know your promotion strategy. How are you going to promote? And also budget. So think of a repeatable budget that you can commit to for your content.
Wow, that's amazing. So I have a quick question. So when you are updating the old piece of content, so do you publish this as a new article, for example, or kind of delete the old article or just keep the article the way it is? It's like updating it?
Great question. So I went back and forth on that, and I actually asked a few people on inbound.org, and the consensus was it's best to update the older post, leave the URL intact, so you don't want to mess with your URL, leave the title if you can. If the title is garbage, fix it. And some of mine were, like, my stuff in the beginning was not that great. But don't change most of that because that's your SEO. That's what you started with years ago. So that's probably going to start getting ranking. But what you want to update is the content. And then what you can do is like type a little sentence at the top of your article and say, oh, I updated this in October of 2017, in May of 2018. And you don't have to change anything else that pertains to the title and the URL.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yes, totally. That's amazing. And can you like share like one success story maybe of yourself or someone taking your course that have been following those 6 steps and observed any noticeable like profit or changes in their businesses or like a quick example that can kind of walk us through those amazing steps?
Yes, great question. Yeah, absolutely. So I have a few that come to mind, but one person that actually shared screenshots of their SEMrush rankings and showed me what happened. It was very drastic, like 73 increases in the rankings overnight.
Wow.
Yeah, 73 positions. They moved up.
Overnight? Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, it was after he updated older content and applied my strategies. So that was Kyle Murray. So shout out to Kyle Murray. He was an awesome student. He completed the whole course, he got through it, and he really put it to use. He not just, my course is really all about my students. And if they don't apply these strategies, I can't really help them. So he really applied the strategies, and he's doing amazing things online.
That's great. How about yourself? So how often are you producing like articles? Like you mentioned when you started, you were like producing every day almost. And how frequently do you do it now?
Yes, good question as well. So back in 2016, whenever I was just thinking more about our content strategy. Whenever I started auditing our content strategy, I was doing 4 to 5 blogs every single week. And that doesn't even count guests. So all in all, I was probably doing 11 blogs a week. And
wow.
It was crazy. So now that has dropped significantly. And I'm doing a blend of content and podcast episodes. So I'm trying to do 1 or 2 podcasts every single month published. And for me, podcasts take a little bit longer because I have to script, I have to make sure I know my topic, have questions for the guest, and then you have to work with the audio file as well. So that takes longer. But my goal is at least one new episode every single month. And then with content, I'm doing one really high level piece every week. And sometimes what we do is we plan something out that may not publish for 2.5 months. And that used to scare me because I was like, oh, I got to get content out. But now my thinking is completely rerouted. And now I'm thinking about, okay, how can we invest the most time, the most creativity, and the most resources into this piece of content? So like my designer is drawing a custom cartoon scene for something we're publishing in 4 weeks. And we are planning that out now, but it won't come out for 4 more weeks because we have so much work to do. So that's where we're at with content is I'm way ahead and I'm never rushed. And it's so much better.
Yeah, but you guys are doing so great. I remember I was Googling and like content writing or how to outsource like content writing. And you guys I think the first or the third, like definitely top 5 on Google. I was like, wow, Julia. And I saw you. Yeah, it's just like amazing that
Thank you. Yeah. I think I know what piece you're talking about. Outsource content writing. We did
something like that. Yeah. Or like how to outsource. Everyone try it. Like you can try it. Like Google how to outsource like content writing or something like that. I don't remember the exact phrases I used. But you're definitely like Express Writers top 3, if not like top 5. Yeah. We are just like there's just so many amazing comments. Everyone is loving you, Julia, and people are taking like screenshots. This is the first time that people are actually taking screenshots of our Be Live to take notes. I love it, Suzanne, and like everyone's taking really great notes. And I love those 6 steps. Do you have like an article that talked about those 6 steps?
You know what? I would say I would point everyone to the masterclass because I go through those at much more in depth. It's a 60-minute class. It's on demand. You can actually pick your own time zone. So if you want me to put the link here, I'm actually...
Please. That's actually one of my next questions. Everyone listen up. I watched that class or webinar. It was amazing. And she went into much in depth of those 6 steps, and I was taking screenshots like crazy. And it is amazing, especially after you watched today's live, you already kind of know those like steps or framework and terminologies. And when you watch the webinar again, and we'll come back to you and you can learn like a lot deeper. Yeah, definitely. Please share the link in the comment section.
Yes.
And we are just wrapping up here, everyone. And if you want to join our live video chat, please click on the Be Live link and join us. Or just want to say hi to Julia or say hi to me and introduce yourself, or if you have a question or not, and please join us. Yes. And please, as you are sharing the link, Julia, I have one more question. And I love, like, this year since January, and your story has been featured in Forbes twice, not once, like twice. I loved reading those articles. And so if you don't mind sharing with us, like, how did those two opportunities like come to you?
Yes, absolutely. So you're right. So that happened the first week of January. So it all started when back in December of last year, I had this crazy goal. I'm like, I am going to get something viral on LinkedIn. That was my goal. So I was like brainstorming, how can I do this? And I decided to create a LinkedIn post. And this wasn't an article or something. It was just a post in the newsfeed. And I asked people for their number one piece of advice in content marketing for new people coming into the scene. What would you tell them? You know, what's the number one thing that they should know? So I tagged a bunch of people, and that post took off. My goal was 3,000 views, and I think we hit over 20,000. And the comments were insane. Like, I was used to no comments. I was used to crickets. And the comments were over 180, I believe, if not 200. So that post, which was not an article piece, it was just a post in the newsfeed, because that got around so much, my LinkedIn went from like 1,000 followers to 3,200 followers.
Wow.
I'm shocked. I'm like, 3,200 people are now following me, and my connections aren't ginormous. I really don't have thousands of connections on LinkedIn. So after that whole thing happened in January, I was getting more comments on everything I posted. So I posted, I think it was how we raised our rates, and we still grew. Like, we raised our rates in 2015, we achieved growth. So someone commented on that, and they were like, and then they messaged me, and they're like, Julia, how did you raise your rates? So I started engaging back. I replied to that conversation. Turns out this was a Forbes editor.
Wow.
So this was late at night. Like, you have to picture me. It's 10 p.m. at night. Like, I should be sleeping. No, I'm sitting here typing back to someone on LinkedIn. So I'm like, oh, he's a Forbes editor. Great. I was going to like move on and go to sleep. My husband was sitting right next to me. He's like, he turns to me and he's like, didn't you say you really want to go big this year? He's like, ask him if you could be featured. I'm like, I can't just ask him.
Amen. Oh my God.
I did. I just asked him, and he's like, pitch me something. So I pitched him something.
Oh my God.
A week later, I had a story live in Forbes.
Oh my God. That is amazing. Yeah. So, like, definitely respond to people's comments, right? And the second is ask. Like, so many people underestimate, you know, myself included. I don't feel like asking people, but just ask. You never know that is incredible, everyone.
I love telling that story because it's like, I don't know. I think that in content marketing, things look really hard sometimes, like getting on Forbes. You know, that sounds impossible, but maybe it's just a LinkedIn message away, and maybe someone's watching you the whole time, and maybe they want to feature you. You never know. So yeah, so I love telling that story.
That's amazing. And we just have someone who wanted to join our live video chat. And so can you please also introduce yourself and tell me how to pronounce your name? I'm sorry. Yes.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I thought there are some other people. My name is Won-Sok Choi from South Korea.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, well, glad to hear to hear your the content strategies and all the ideas. I'm very glad. Really appreciate to have all the knowledge via this. You know, thank you very much.
Julia, you are going to become a household name in South Korea.
Yeah, hopefully, yes. But yeah, I really wanted to have this kind of conversation also shared with other people in South Korea. Although I'm studying in the University of Lapland in Finland, actually.
Oh, are you joining us from Finland?
Yeah, Finland. Yeah, this here is Finland, so it's we are in the so
Wow.
I always like share like Professor I's content with my colleagues, and this time I will also share again.
Oh, thank you. Okay, you are becoming a household name in Finland, Julia.
Wow.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
You made my day.
Well,
yeah, thank you so much for coming up and saying hi to us, and truly appreciate.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, maybe I will just listen to your story.
Yes, definitely. Do you have a question or?
Well, one of the question that I have with my wife, actually, my wife also produced some podcast, and I produce some videos sometimes regularly. But one of the idea that we have, if we have many channels like a podcast or post blogging, sometimes I feel I need more on-site experience to develop the like a different content, because we cannot really write or create something out of nothing. And how do you deal with these questions when you have to produce a lot of different content from your busy daily life?
Yes, great question. So how do you keep coming up with new ideas?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's such a great question. And I was asking myself that years ago whenever I started, like, I am going to run out of ideas, and then what? And now today I have 3 strategies that really help me find ideas to where I am never, like, I have 200 topics that I still haven't written on. So the strategies now that I'm using for topic discovery, I try to categorize them, and that really helps it come easier. So categories, I'll do an SEO category. Okay, so what keywords should I go after? And then I'll research those keywords and then base something around that keyword. And then outside of SEO, I'll try to think about brand awareness. How can we capitalize on a trending topic? How can we create something that might be at the most read on another site, but we could create something with a new angle, a new aspect? So I use tools like BuzzSumo and Hawkeye for that. And if you want, I can put this link for Hawkeye in the comments because it's a brand new tool. It just
please share. Yeah, please share, Julia. Yeah,
it's amazing. So,
and sorry to interrupt. I think there's another one that really helps me like develop topics or like discover topics. It's like Ask the Public. Do you guys know that website?
Answerthepublic.com.
Answer the Public. Yes. Do you use that?
Like a Quora something, for example?
No, it's like for example, you search a topic and then kind of like a pie chart of like branches off into like different topics and subtopics and subtopics. And I'm going to post the link. It was really good to see like brainstorm like different topics. It's one of my favorite tools that I use when I'm trying to discover like things to talk about.
That's a great tool. Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's
really great.
That's awesome. With Hawkeye, there's the metrics in that tool are kind of new, so it's kind of difficult to know right away. But if you search a topic and you look on the right-hand side of the tool, there's actually there's a competition meter. So it'll tell you a rating. It'll tell you like there's 150 topics created on, digital marketing, maybe. That would look more like 50,000, but it'll tell you right next to that number your opportunity score. So that has been something I've been going to very often. Like, what am I going to write about now? If I'm going to write about blogging, I'll research and see what kind of umbrella topics under that have a really great competition score. So that's a great tool. And then, so once you have those 2 things, a third thing is just talking to real people, interviewing them. And for us, like for me, that's my core students, that's our clients, like just continually talking to them on a daily basis. What are your struggles? What are your difficulties? And that alone can make dozens of topics, because there's so many ways you could go with those questions. So those are the three areas that I use. And having 3 areas to go to means that I'm never out of topics. So it's really, really good. Really helps. Hopefully that helps.
Wow,
yeah, that's great.
Very really keeps you being an idea bank all the time with a different idea. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the nice team.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much. Hope to see you in my masterclass. I'd love to see you in there.
Yes, did you share the link, Julia? The link to your masterclass?
Okay, I will find the link then again.
I might have got buried.
Okay, I just want to make sure you share the link. Yeah, I'm also going to do a blog post recap of this interview. I will make sure to include all of the links. And so I'm just going to let you down, Wang Sunk. And thank you so much
thank you very much.
for joining us. Yes. And we're just wrapping up here, and we'll do one more question. Do you have time, Julia, before we?
Oh yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So this question is from Darren, and he asks you like, how often do you have students not follow your advice? And do you find if there's any difference between students who are actually paying to receive your advice versus students receiving the free advice?
Oh, Darren, that's an amazing question. Well, you know, I want to say this well, but there is such a big void between the people that, like, for instance, join our free Twitter chat hour and the people that are in my course. Because the people that are in my course, you know, when you pay for something, there's skin in the game and you feel it. It hurts. You have to pay. And so you want to follow those strategies. You want to follow them step by step. But when you're not paying and when you're just, joining something for free, listening to the expert, and you're not following it step by step, there's, you're not going to see as much success, hardly at all. So with the people that are in my student group, which it's still kind of small, it's 60 people right now, I am seeing so much success. Like, these people they're getting jobs in the industry that are awesome. They're progressing. They're getting more clients. They're so busy, they can't join my Twitter chat anymore. they're getting so many clients. Yes. So I think that's a great question and I'm still trying to figure out that divide, because I always want to be the person that's sharing what I know. And I don't want to, you don't have to pay to read my blog. You don't have to pay to join our Twitter chat. But whenever I teach this course, it's structured. There's 6 weeks you have to follow. And if you don't follow that in sequential steps, you're not going to see success from it. Like, profitable content marketing is a series of steps. It really is. It comes down to, how do you do those steps in what order? Like we said, if you skip around to creating content first, which a lot of people do,
that's
huge. Yeah, you'll miss so many profits. I can't say that enough. Like, that is everything to profitable content marketing, is following steps in sequential order. Great question.
That's amazing. And here's another quick question I just noticed from Ross. And thank you so much for joining us. He asked, how much time do you spend on the blog post that goes with your podcast episode beyond the time that you spend preparing for the interview, hosting and editing the show?
Great question as well. So that would be the show notes published on our site, I think. I think that's what you mean, Ross. So
I think so.
The show notes, which is, it's formatted like a blog, so it really does appear like a blog. So the show notes, I'm going to share one of my secrets. I use my team at Express Writers to create those show notes for me. So after I have the audio file fully recorded, I pass it to I only have 3 writers that I work with very closely in my own team. So I pass it to one of those 3 writers, and I'm like, here you go. Here's the audio file. Create some show notes. So they do that, and that frees up a couple hours, because if I were to do that would take me a long time. So outsourcing that is definitely what I do to make that happen.
Yeah, I can also relate because my goal when I launched my Facebook show was to do a blog post recap of every single interview. And I just couldn't keep up with it, because the way I do show notes, like some people do show notes, just like verbatim transcription of every single, but I kind of like synthesize the points a little bit and organize it a little bit and add my own like critical thinking. It takes like lots of time, seriously. So yeah, I can, definitely relate.
You have to pick and choose when you're running a business, especially like
absolutely.
If you're running a business and doing content for that, if you're just doing content for exposure, maybe you have more time. But if you're running a business, you have a team, you have to pay bills, that's
absolutely.
how you eat. Then you have to really time, get more strategic.
Absolutely. And someone were asking your LinkedIn article, the one you mentioned earlier, and can you also post the link, or you can tell me the title? I can search for it and then enter in the comment section.
So that would be the LinkedIn piece that went viral?
I think so, yeah. I'm just catching up on the comments here. I think so.
So what we did was, I asked 100 people. My goal was 100 people for their number one advice. And we had, I think, just under 200. So what that was a LinkedIn status. But we did, and this took 2.5 months, we did create the Roundup blog.
It's like
shares the 100 pieces of content. Or
yeah. I was so honored to be featured in that article, and Darren was also featured in that. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah. You can just try to find that. We really need to wrap up to be mindful of everyone's time. So Julia, what is next for you, and how can I help you? I heard you have another book coming out or working on the book. So what's next for you, and how can I help you share and promote?
Thank you. Well, what's next for me, going back to one of the first things we talked about is focus. So I'm trying to do less and I'm trying to do more of the right things. So for me, that's my agency, that's the course, and my third book. So, I guess to me, less is still a lot, but at least it's not 10 things. Yeah. So with this book, this third book I'm writing, I think I'm at a point in my life where I really want to tell a bigger story. And to me, that is going back to what happened to me 6 years ago. One of the reasons I'm here today is I left a cult in the middle of the night, escaped, and then I grew my business. But incidentally, it was my business that gave me the means to get out of that environment. So what I do has been my lifeline, and I have grown so much. Like, I wouldn't even be doing this live. This would be like something I would be like, no, I can't speak. What are you talking about? So I'm petrified of people, and I was for many years coming out of that environment, very emotionally abused. So how did I heal? How did I grow this business? That's a big question I've been getting as I share that story. So that's why I decided to write that in my next book. So my book is going to be a memoir, and it's storytelling. It's not boring. My other books were a little bit boring.
No, they're not. They are super useful.
True, they're useful. That's so true. But this one, it's going to read like a story. So what I'm doing is I'm digging through my past. What happened whenever I was born? Why did my parents think the way they did? And I'm digging through all of my childhood. And what's interesting as I write this book is I'm seeing where my traits come from. Like working hard. You know what? We were trained how to work 8-hour days at like 9 years old. 9 years old, I was working 8-hour days. So a lot of my ethic is from that strange environment. So that's the whole story, though. I'm telling the whole story from birth till now. And then I'm going to share some lessons I've learned from my entrepreneurial journey in this book. So that's my goal, is to write a story. And I really want this story to reach millions of people. I have huge goals. These goals scare me.
Oh, sure. Totally. Yeah. You should totally like dream big. And I can definitely see you on the TED or TEDx stage, sharing your story and talking about your book. And I personally cannot wait to read this book and to get to know you even more and learn from you. Like, really amazing. Do you have a title for the book?
I do. Should I share it?
if you don't mind.
This is the first time I've shared it on Facebook. Yeah. Outside of my personal profile. Woman Rising.
Wow. Love that.
Thanks.
Natasha said she's looking forward to reading it.
I'm so excited to share this book. Like, it is, gosh, I have not been more excited about a project. Well, I mean, I love everything I'm doing, but this book is very close to my heart. And I feel like I have to share this story and reach people, you know, and share what I've gone through and how I've been able to get to the other side. Because I don't think you hear that a lot, you know, going through what I've been through and being able to do what I do today.
So absolutely. Absolutely. I think it can inspire lots of people. I cannot wait to read the book, and many people in the audience, they're also excited. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you guys. Well, you'll be the first to know when it comes out, so everyone here can know.
Yes, definitely. And maybe you should come back again for the third time on my show to talk about that book.
Oh, that'd be good. Next year. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Oh, hold on. Someone said didn't catch the name of your book. Let me
type it in.
Is that right? Women Rising, Julia, in the comments?
Woman Rising.
And so where can people learn more about you, Julia? Please share your website and social media handles and one parting piece of advice in terms of content creation.
Oh, good stuff. Yes. Well, you can definitely follow up any questions you have. I am super active on Twitter. I did just hit 11,000 followers, which is new for me. I was at 5,000 just a few months ago. So I have a lot more velocity of messages, but I'm still keeping up with all of them. So you can find me at Julia E. McCoy on Twitter. You can follow, read what I blog about at expresswriters.com/write-blog. The Write blog, that's where I write. And you can follow my podcast. It's on iTunes, The Write Podcast. And then our Twitter chat, which I mentioned, Tuesdays at 10 a.m., #ContentWritingChat.
That is a wrap. That is amazing. And thank you so much, Julia. And you just get so much love from everyone, and Darren and Wang Sunk, and who just joined us. Thank you. And Mark, Suzanne.
I forgot to share one piece of advice. Did you still want me to do that?
Please. I could just talk to you forever, you know, everyone.
Aw. Well, this is an awesome hour for me. Well, I actually wrote something down because I loved your question, one piece of advice. So my parting piece of advice would be to stop thinking about quantity with what you do. So start thinking about less is more. And a lot of you guys are, you know, creating awesome stuff, and the things you're putting out are reaching people. And I read something in a book recently, and I'm not sure where I read this, but it's like, whenever you complete a project, instead of thinking, oh, great, I just completed a project, think, how can you repeat it and do it better? And like, that's such a challenge, because you know, I might spend 5 weeks doing something and then I'm done. I walk away. I'm not going to, that's my highest level. But now I'm asking myself, how can I get better every time? So like, we're brainstorming a blog. It's going to come out in 4 weeks. We're going to add a podcast. And in this podcast, my husband's actually going to role play, and I'm going to be the other voiceover, and we're going to tell a story.
Oh my God.
That's how we're going to try to take it to another level. Will people like it? We'll find out.
I'm definitely going to check it out. That sounds amazing.
So yeah, every time I create, that's where I'm at. How can I do it in a more creative way? And if we don't think like that, I think we're going to get lost by the wayside, because there's so much content being created. There's a deluge of content. So we have to think like that.
Oh, I love it. It's such a great piece of advice for myself, you know, like revisiting some of your content and think more creatively, you know, instead of always like, oh, I need to just keep going to go there, and kind of like stop and think. Yeah.
So easy to think that way. It's just, oh, I have deadlines. I have to keep my business alive. I have to keep. No, it's time to step back and say, am I doing this the best way I can?
Yeah.
And that can improve everything you do and make profits more accessible.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I love Wang Sun, who has been like taking notes. You are like the best note taker of my show.
That's awesome. I love
it's amazing. Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much, Julia. This is truly amazing. And thank you everyone joining us live. And I truly appreciate you guys. And I know I learned a lot. And I'm sure everyone in the audience learned a lot, taking so many screenshots. So thank you so much. Next week, I hope to see you the same time, same location. I have Lisa Bayer on my show, and we are going to discuss digital detox. So Julia, thank you for being so awesome. And
welcome. Thank
so
you
happy to have you on my show. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, make sure you follow Julia. Yes. Bye, everyone.